250 times social distancing champion, aka the Taco Tyrant, aka lick my knuckles so you can feel the bone. Oh man, it's so dumb. AKA the Nigga Lip Master, bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sites, episode 89. Today's date is January 29th, 2021. Recording this very late, but you know what? Hey, we just gonna rock with it though, you know. I was at least initially planning to record earlier, but then I got sleepy, and I'm like, you know what? Would I rather record earlier and be at like 25%, or get my sleep in, be at 100%, maybe even 5? I'm gonna actually put 5 in there, 105%. Actually, no, 110%. Let's keep it real. So I chose the latter, and got a workout in, so I got some food. I'm energized. I'm energized. Dare I say, even now I'm motivated. Now I'm motivated. Um. Oh man. Yeah. So there you go. We getting a special after hours edition, baby. Yeah. Yeah. I may take my clothes off. You don't know. You might get a little nipple. You never know. Who knows what can happen after hours? Gotta. Who knows what can happen after hours? Yeah. All that stuff aside, man, a lot of stuff has popped off this week. Let me tell you. Um, yeah, man, a lot of stuff is just straight up popped off. People, the rich, it's a war against the rich versus the poor. Freaking people dancing naked in the dark. Bernie with the, well, that happened last week technically, but there's still remnants of it still. Um, everybody's invested in stock now, so shit is crazy, more or less. But yeah, outside of that, without further ado, let's stop the dilly dallying and get into it, shall we? So first biggest topic in a while is this whole big GameStop stock situation, which is it just feels like it's a lot of layers to it, more or less. So with that being in mind, I will definitely for sure preface this saying that I am in no way, no way at all a stock investment expert by any means. My knowledge in the stock business is highly limited. So let me for sure preface that I have never invested in a stock. Maybe someday I will get that itch, but not anytime soon at least. But just keeping that in mind, I am not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to stock. But on the other side, I will say that this whole scenario did pique my interest in doing a little bit of research, at least specifically in regards to this whole GameStop situation. So that is at least what I can provide you guys. Try to sound somewhat smart talking about this. Short squeeze, you know. You didn't know I knew that, did you? Gotcha. Gotcha. No. So, man, at some point I was very hesitant to even talk about this based on the lack of knowledge in the realm of the stock market. But either way, I already warned you. So I mean, you could get your pitchforks and your little torches, and try to touch me with them, but I ain't gonna have it. I ain't gonna have it. All right. These muscles, unpenetrable. You hear me? Unpenetrable, bitch. Yeah. So, all right. So to get into the story specifically, so based on my understanding, at least from what I researched on the whole story, was that basically there's this Twitter site slash, well, I guess is more of a representation of the platform, which is Citrion Research, I believe, where basically they are mainly focused on short stock. And my understanding of short stock is basically, um, I guess it could have multiple meanings, but basically buying to sell in basically in a short period of time in order to, I assume, to get in a profit one way or another. Whether I believe you can also bet against the stock that it'll lower and the opposite that it will raise. I'm pretty sure. So, at least from what I researched on it. So there is that factor. And then I guess apparently this research group got into some excuse me, got into some beef with Wall Street Bets, which is a Reddit group, a subreddit group, where basically it's a mixture of just the most unwise bets in terms of, I keep saying bets, but I mean they're kind of, stock is kind of like betting, if we're going to be honest. I mean, I feel like it's just a way to kind of obfuscate that people are actually gambling on stuff, but neither here nor there. So, basically, Wall Street Bets is kind of like a somewhat, it feels like a satirical slash, uh, how do you describe? It's like, not to be taken serious, but there might be, no, I can't even say that. It's just very risky in terms of like the advisory that they suggest in there in terms of certain stock, from what I at least checked and researched on. So you have that, and then I guess to my understanding is that Citrion Research was like baiting, or not even necessarily, but kind of, how do I describe it, like not encouraging, challenging um, Wall Street Bets to some extent, where they're saying like this GameStop stock is gonna be horrible. It's probably, it's gonna be the lowest ever. Blah blah blah. Yada yada. And then I guess Wall Street Bets took that as like a challenge, and at least they collectively, as the subreddit, started investing in stock, which, at least from my understanding, in terms of doing that, there was a lot of richer, like financial firms and companies that were short betting, I believe the term is, where they basically invest in GameStop stock, not raising at all, and basically they make a profit from that if they invest in more or less saying that the stock is not going to raise, and if it doesn't, then they profit from that. But considering Wall Street's bets investments, and then I think because of that, and now everybody, this whole story caught steam, and then a lot of just people who never even messed with stock before started getting into it and also investing in the GameStop stock, which in turn when you invest in a stock that's lower, or I guess basically just a general rule, if a lot of people invest in the stock at once, it does raise in terms of the price. So since the price raised, that basically fucked over the rich people more or less, and now they are getting screwed over because they invested in that the stock wouldn't raise, but it did. So now they lost. They're losing a ton of money, and in terms of GameStop stock, it's just been gradually like with like some setbacks and stuff here and there in between, but exceptionally exponentially even raising in like stock value and stuff like that. So that's just, as somebody who's not fully, I'll say this again, who's not fully versed in the stock market, or not even that knowledgeable to be honest, but at least from what I researched in the context of the GameStop scenario, that's at least the general gist of what I got. And then on top of that, there's also a couple other companies, since it's kind of related, like that are also, it seems like now that's the trend now, like trying to raise the stock of very low companies, like for example AMC, and BlackBerry, at least to mention the others. So now people are doing that as well, and I guess the biggest, like, I guess, angle is more so just screwing over the rich man, who like a lot of rich people are. I would assume this is their kind of means of maintaining their status, if you will. So at least how I feel about it, it's kind of humbling, in terms of like these rich people, not having worries in the world, and then the poor people are kind of poorer, if anything, kind of screwing them over. I don't really feel too bad about it. I mean, maybe you could ration your money more. I don't know. So there's that, and then there's a whole story that developed today, where Robinhood, which is one of the newer platforms, I believe, that actually makes investing in stocks, to my understanding at least, a little bit more easier, efficient than the more traditional stock sites, where it's a little bit more intricate, and I would assume maybe just more, what's the word, difficult to get into. I from what I briefly researched specifically regarding that. So Robinhood, which is really ironic in terms of Robinhood and the naming and the implications, at least supposedly after the fact now, but the fact of them, they're actually halting some of the stock in terms of that have been raised exponentially, which is including GameStop, AMC, and I believe that BlackBerry, to not to mention some of the other ones as well. So now Robinhood is getting a hell of a lot of backlash as well for doing that, because basically they are tampering with stocks and investments, which I'm pretty sure that's a big no-no in the stock market in general, since that technically would be dictating stock, or preventing stock from being bought, regardless of what it is. So that's been interesting. And then Robinhood has been getting like 1-star reviews and stuff, at least what I saw on Twitter and things like that. So yeah, very, very overloaded scenario, but very fascinating, at least in of itself, in terms of like fucking over the rich man, which I'm not. I mean, maybe they deserve it to some extent. I mean, you got all that money, you ain't gonna do nothing with it. But I digress. So at least that's my general understanding, at least looking a little bit more into it. But again, I am no stock expert by the least. So, but at least from the outside looking in, it definitely is very fascinating. It was like, at least give me like, maybe I should start getting this stock thing. But I'm like, maybe some point, maybe, not now. Considering the volatility of it, where with stock you can invest in something and it could totally drop and then you are in the negative and basically lose out on money and stuff like that. So very complicated I guess field to get into, but I mean, hey, people are clearly making a lot of money from it one way or another. So what does that tell you? I don't know. But yeah, it's just fascinating. Of all people, fucking GameStop, who was like pretty much on its last legs. It feels like, even though they getting like a lot of these exclusivity deals in terms of like at least collector's editions of games and stuff like Resident Evil 8 is at least the recent one that comes to mind. So it's like they're still somewhat standing, but it's kind of amazing how, especially with the pandemic and how brick and mortar stores are definitely, I would assume, suffering the most in that respect. So, and especially specifically with games, how pretty much all games you can buy online now anyway. So very interesting. And I think due to this whole thing, I think GameStop was literally beating some of the top invested companies. So now technically GameStop is at up there with the Fortune 500 companies, just based off this whole scenario and how this whole thing just started from somebody more or less what's the word, enticing you know to not invest in the stock, and they're like, no, we're gonna do it, and then do it tenfold. So that's crazy and fascinating at the same time. And this is the first time at least I could think of where something stock, a whole the stock market has come to the mainstream, if you will, which is it's the more you think about it, it's always been a thing you always thought about but never thought too much into. But hey, man, get your money or screw those people with all that money. Like they say, we fucking up the white man's money. So I mean, and then there's also with some of the big firms, hedge funds. I know that's been mentioned a lot, as well as Wall Street, of course, where they're kind of trying to attempt to follow suit as well in regards to the whole scenario about dictating funds and preventing funds from being invested in terms of the stocks and stuff. So hot ass mess, but hot in a good way. The good way when you put it in your mouth and it feel kind of good. That's what it seemed like. So it's funny to me. It's funny and fulfilling into a brief extent in terms of just fucking over the rich people that got more money than they know what to do with. But that's at least my stance on it from the information that was presented to me and what I researched on it. So yeah, crazy stuff, man. Did not see that. Did not see this coming at all. So moving on. Man, probably the next biggest crazy kerfuffle, if you will, is with Xbox Live. So, basically, I believe last Friday, it seemed to have been like a stealth announcement. They announced, Xbox announced that they're updating the Xbox Live Gold pricing, where it's basically going to be double the price for 1 year of Xbox Live Gold. So let's see, and actually we'll read the statement. Let me get my suit talk. Sip my water. Stay hydrated. It's funny just thinking about it, but yeah, okay. All right. Since we launched Xbox Live 18 years ago, we've been working to make it the most advanced multiplayer network available. for the greatest community of gamers, and there are a lot of you. Millions of people come together on Xbox to play with friends and discover great games. We invest in our community by strengthening the digital safety of our players, enabling new ways to share, communicate, and play with your friends, and delivering industry leading reliability across our network. Periodically, we assess the value and pricing of our services to reflect changes in regional marketplaces and to continue to invest in the Xbox community. We'll be making price adjustments for Xbox Live Gold in select markets. In many markets, the price of Xbox Live Gold has not changed for years, and in some markets it hasn't changed for over 10 years. If you're an existing online 12-month or 6-month Xbox Live Gold member, there's no price change. If you choose to renew your membership, it will renew at the current price. The price of a 1-month gold membership is increasing $1 USD, and the price of a 3-month membership is increasing $5 USD, or the equivalent amount in your local market. If you'd like to upgrade your gold membership to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, your remaining gold time will also convert directly to Ultimate up to 36 months. For example, if you have 11 months of Xbox Live Gold now, and you upgrade to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, those 11 months, I cannot say that, I don't know why, convert to 11 months of Ultimate at no additional cost. Members have already been notified in some regions. If you're in a region where prices are being adjusted, you will receive an email and a message center notification over the next month letting you know what the new pricing is for your membership. Going forward, new pricing will be 1 month for $10.99, 3 months for $29.99, and 6 months for $59.99, or your local market equivalent. You can always visit your account to manage your membership, and prices won't adjust until at least 45 days after you receive the messages. So, basically, with all that, fluff in there, pretty much for 6 months, it's $59.99, which was the price for 1 year of Xbox Live Gold. So in theory, it seems like they're like basically intentionally hiding that, with all the marketing mumbo jumbo, that basically if you want 1 full year of Xbox Live Gold, it's going to be $120 if you could, do the math and all that. So pretty much for very obvious reasons, this caused a whole outrage amongst everybody who's, currently a live subscriber. Understandably so, because you're literally doubling the price over something that honestly shouldn't even be a thing in the first place, especially considering how PC gamers have been playing games without having to subscribe for the most part. I know there's a couple exceptions, like WoW comes to mind. I think Final Fantasy 14, or at least a couple other games that force you to subscribe. But outside of that, pretty much anything else is free to play, as long as you have internet connection, whatever. So yeah, I think something that's still a weird thing that we are paying for, and then on top of that, to double the price of that said thing, yeah, people are gonna be pissed. Cause yeah, that's kind of fucked up. It's real fucked up. Let's be honest. So pretty much everybody just burning the shit out of Xbox for what, like the past, I don't know, I think 5 or so hours, and then to everyone's surprise, man, all of a sudden Xbox was was switching up. There's like I'm totally like paraphrasing, but basically like a couple, yeah, like 5 or so hours later, Xbox was like, guys, we've heard you. We did not make the correct decision in terms of raising the price of Xbox Live Gold twice the price, double the price for 1 year. So, with that being in mind, we will revert back to our original pricing, as well as also allowing free to play games to be played without the requirement of an Xbox Live Gold subscription. So basically, they basically backpedaled, but then it's like the damage is done, dude. A lot of people probably unsubbed by then in terms of all that, and yeah, man, it's a dumpster fire, hot mess, and yeah. So I'm just very curious who made that decision, because you don't just make that decision all willy nilly and then drop that on a Friday, of all things, and expect people to be like, oh well, yeah, I guess, yeah, all right, 120, that's fine, I know one angle I've been seeing is that people were thinking that they are trying to they're trying to push people to subscribe to Xbox Live Game Pass Ultimate, which is basically includes Xbox Live as well as Game Pass, which is the service that lets you play a set amount of games for free, as long as you have a subscription, and like new games come in and out and stuff like that, kind of similar to Netflix. And also, probably the biggest thing is that you can download the games. It's not like you have to specifically stream them like a couple other platforms and services too. So there is that, but I think it's pretty much generally way more expensive than an Xbox Live Gold subscription as well. So I mean, yeah, if you look at it on that standpoint, you, at least personally, because let me see, what is the pricing of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate? Ultimate pricing. So $15 a month and $180 per year. So yeah, technically it's more expensive. Um, but I mean the value is there. I mean, arguably in that respect, but still, not everybody want to play a lot of games at once, or maybe they are generally focused on one game online that they play a lot and things like that. So yeah, it not a good look, Microsoft, especially the position where you're at in terms of the current console race. Even though, of course, with the pandemic and stuff, people are selling the Series X. But I mean, of the two consoles, PS5 and Xbox Series X, I think it is definitely easier to attain a Series X versus a PS5, at least in the current climate, until stock and bots go away and stuff like that. So yeah, not a good look. So I think I think the damage is already done. To be honest, you could try to buff in a deal by saying free to play games don't require a subscription, but it's like, I don't know. I think this turned a lot of people off personally. Well, at least personally, how I feel about it is that, yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, I was already subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate, but still, this is still, if they follow through with it, yeah, it would not be a good look. I definitely would have my disagreement with it, especially considering the unnecessary need for this in the first place, especially compared to PC. So, yeah, yeah. Either way, moving on. Konami, you know that company that made Metal Gear and Silent Hill, one of some of the most revolutionary IPs of all time. Well, the company is no longer playing. So basically, they said they are undergoing, at least their terminology, personnel changes and organizational restructuring effective February 1st. So pretty much they are basically restructuring, but they did mention that the gaming section will still be there. So at least a lot of people immediately interpreted it as the company um, getting rid of what's the word? Getting rid of the gaming section and basically, brushing it off and thinking that didn't exist, if that makes sense. So, uh, kind of low. Okay. Um, I guess I can raise it. I've been having an issue actually with my threshold, but we'll try and bump it up. But it causes interference. So we'll do it. Is that better? I know it introduces buzzing, but we'll have to deal with it. So, yeah, in terms of the Konami specifically not being within the company anymore. Cool. Appreciate that, eyes. Thank you, thank you. Um, yeah. So I mean, hopefully they do like at least like the rumors are going that they do like outsource their IPs to companies or PlayStation or whatever to get some of these going. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, yeah, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully, Konami is smart. If anything, that they'll know what they have and at least continue making money off it, at least from another company or something. But yet to be determined. So, anywho, moving on. A new Yakuza spin-off game leaked that supposedly is featuring Ryuji Goda. For those that don't know, Ryuji Goda was I always get it, and protagonist, antagonist. I think protagonist. Let me quickly. Antagonist. Damn it, I get it wrong every time. No, I am not. I talked about it earlier, but no, I am not. It's enticing, I'll say that, but not really that interested. Not too interested in it, but yeah. So yeah, Ryuji Goto, who was the antagonist of Yakuza 2 or Kiwami 2 for the most recent one, supposedly, at least according to this leaked screenshot, which of course from 4chan, so I mean, huge grain of salt, but I mean, it would make sense in general, but basically some screenshots of a debug gameplay, which looks to be very similar in engine, at least to Yakuza Like a Dragon, or AKA Yakuza 7 in Japan, which looks a lot like the recent game in terms of engine and the overall look of it. And it even includes like I see Jun Gi Han, I think, from 7 as well. So that leads me to believe that this definitely is real. I think they also said this would take place before 2, possibly maybe after. Yeah. So, and then in terms of the like some of the locations, Onomichi, which was the biggest, the I guess standout place in 6, Yakuza 6, and then a couple other locations as well, which I thought they mentioned, maybe not. So I guess, yeah, I guess that would kind of make slight sense. Um, I mean, at least engine wise, in terms of being able to easily, develop and get this out next year, or I likely this year. Let's be honest, considering the track record of the track record of Ryuga Gotoku Studios in terms of like literally like churning out a Yakuza game almost every year for the most part. But interesting. Ryuji Goto. I like him. I like him as a character. I could totally see playing as him. They also said this apparently spun off the mobile game. I forgot what it's called. It's like Ryuga Gotoku Infinite or something like that. But apparently he had some story arc in there, and that I guess that this potentially might be building off that, supposedly, maybe. So, yeah, I hope, I hope we get Kiryu and Tekken. That would be great. That really would. Yeah, it's up in the air still. You know, Nagoshi was saying that, had some comments about how he technically wouldn't want it because he doesn't want he doesn't want his Kiryu punching women. But I'm like, all right, but you slapped Haruka in the face though. But all right, okay, so we'll see. We'll see. That is definitely my hope. I will definitely get me back into Tekken hardcore. So, but yeah, I definitely like this concept. Ryuji Goda as a main character. I think he was cool. I think he has the potential to hit those heights, kind of similar to Goro and Kiryu, and of course the recent Ichiban Kasuga. So I could definitely see it. I want it though. I do kind of want it now. Now that it's kind of presented to us, I definitely would. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Yeah. I guess the biggest question though is if it will clap clap women. That's fun. Kiryu clapping women. Yeah, the biggest for sure, like, curiosity for me specifically regarding this is if this will be the turn-based Yakuza or traditional Yakuza, beat 'em up Yakuza, which that's gonna be a big thing for me, at least. I mean, I'd be lying to myself to say I wouldn't still play it regardless of either or. But if I had the preference, definitely would want, definitely would want, the beat 'em up path, if so. But considering he is showing a party member, this is likely, at least the odds seem to be leaning towards it being turn based, and especially they just released Yakuza Like a Dragon, which was received very well, even I guess disappointingly, depending on who you ask, disappointingly compared disappointingly well compared to the traditional beat 'em up Yakuza. So I don't know. I do not know. How's it going, Queen Bellamami? So we'll see. I don't know, man. I would definitely would want really would want the beat 'em up, but I don't know. I think with the really good success of Yakuza, I think them dreams are gone, man. You hate to see it. Maybe there will be a spin-off or a spin-off of, or just a traditional Yakuza that is actually more in line with the beat 'em up stuff, but it hurts a little bit. Hurts a little bit, not gonna lie. Just a little bit. Moving on. Vicarious Visions, who previously the last game they did work on was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, which was good, by the way. Pretty awesome. Loved it. Apparently now are now going to be working on a Diablo 2 remake, and in turn also are under the Blizzard umbrella. So I guess technically their company has been disbanded, to my understanding, officially. So now they're no longer that company, and they're basically set to work on the Blizzard games like StarCraft 2 Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft Remastered, Warcraft 3 Reforged. So that seems to likely mean that there will be no more Tony Hawk, or like, you know, a lot of people were speculating that we likely will get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, which was, you know, seems to be the logical next step. So I don't know, man. That's sad. It feels like potentially Tony Hawk may be gone, and even if anything, either that or it's gonna be in the wrong hands. That at least Vicarious Vision was the people that originally messed with Tony Hawk to begin with. So I don't know. Spider-Man's still in the remakes. I don't think it is. I've not heard anything about that. I mean, I assume that now with Insomniac, because Insomniac did the recent Spider-Man games, I would assume that everybody's fine with that. But who knows? I guess that would kind of be a little confusing, where people were expecting to play the one Spider-Man and then get confused with the remake of the original Spider-Man. But I mean, yeah, that's hard to I guess determine. But yeah, they are. I'm pretty sure those are the same people. So yeah, that kind of sucks, because I definitely would totally play another Tony Hawk. And going by this, it seems like that may not happen unless Blizzard publishes Tony Hawk, which I guess could happen. Maybe it just would seem weird, I guess, but it seems likely that might not happen. But I mean, I think Tony Hawk did pretty good, at least reception wise. I think sales wise it did pretty good too. So I don't know, they'd be dumb to not do it. But yeah, so they straight absorbing Vicarious Visions. R.I.P. Vicarious Visions. Thank you for Tony Hawk's 1 and 2. It was a good game. Hopefully we may see 3 and 4 with you guys again, but who knows. Moving on. VGC, according to from VGC, M2, who are basically the people that made Resident Evil 3 Remake. Apparently there's been some headbutting going on, which I think I know is generally kind of will more or less happen in terms of development. I would assume at some point people are going to have some conflicts here and there in terms of the development choices being made. But with this specifically, in terms of the role in development for RE4 Remake, has supposedly been significantly reduced, and that Capcom Division 1, which are the people that made RE2 Remake, at least the recent Resident Evil, will be taking over the project. And what is very interesting about this specifically is that well, I guess it depends, but basically in terms of the report, they mentioned that there have been disagreements between Capcom and M2. The former pushed for more changes, while the latter preferred a more one-to-one remake because of the backlash of RE3 Remake. They also state that RE4 remake is being partially rebooted now and slated for 2023. So, yeah, it does. It does. I agree. What I do appreciate though with M2 is that at least because we all know, I think we all collectively know how, at least as a fan of the original RE3, how disappointing RE3 remake was. I won't say bad because it was good on its own feet, but like as somebody who specifically wanted to, somebody who specifically played, who never played the original RE3 and played RE3 remake, I don't think they'd be as disappointed or let down than somebody who originally played the original RE3 and then played the remake. That how disappointing that was, which it was, man. I mean, Nemesis it wasn't really Nemesis. He was like a scripted, consistent boss fight, more or less, with just very limited. That was one of the biggest ones for me. But yeah, they cut the freaking clock tower. They redid the ending part with the it's the Nest 2.0, and instead of the Dead Factory. What else did they cut? Yeah, just the clock tower was the biggest one. They cut the Raccoon City Zoo out, which is some of those things I could kind of reason with, but I think of all of them, like cutting out the clock tower completely, that's just that was not a good look. I could at least reason with them in terms of some aspects that maybe they felt that they needed to cut, but like it was literally too much that was cut from that game. And you could beat it in, like, I mean, if you were really good, you could really beat it, what, maybe at least 2 hours, if you really speed running or whatever. I'm pretty sure obviously more optimizations that could be made to beat it even faster, but man, it still hurts. How dirty they did RE3 remake. And then gonna have the audacity, the nerve to say, well, after you're done with RE3 remake, that's gonna take like 5 hours to beat, you can go ahead and play some RE Resistance. Yeah, it's gonna be a full package. I'm trying hard to not go into a whole thing, but either way, keeping that in mind. Yeah, the Nemesis transformations were very like gimped, and yeah, it was there was a lot of things to criticize about that, but disappointing. But with all that in mind, I at least do appreciate that. At least it seemed like, in terms of these reports, is that M2 was trying to make it more 1-to-1 in terms of the RE4 remake, which at least is good that they tried to make it a little bit more not as cut as RE3 remake. Even though I think the story with RE3 remake isn't fully M.2's fault, because I think it was a complicated development process where another team was working on it, and then M2 had worked on it after, or something like that. I want to say, I could be wrong, but I believe there were more, like, I guess, more gears in that development process that complicated a lot of stuff, to my understanding. So either way, I do at least credit M.2 for at least trying to make it more close to the original, at least what they were saying. RE team making these bad online games and making bad choices. Like, oh man, I wish I, I wish I could tell you, man. I do not understand it. I guess the only thing I could think of is that they're trying to grab the Call of Duty like people, which is just weird in of itself. Because it's like, don't try to be something else. Just be yourself. You know, with specifically with Resident Evil, because Resident Evil is kind of somewhat semi niche in of itself, and to try to grab people from other markets, I don't think, at least according to past history, is not really translated over well, to be honest. Because like, you know, you had Operation Raccoon City, which is just horrible, atrocious in of itself. Basically, SOCOM with a Resident Evil overlay on it. Again, trying to be something else, or trying to be something that's mainstream, which I don't think Resident Evil. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. At least specifically, multiplayer Resident Evil isn't. So you have that, and then you have what else? Umbrella Corps, which was just absolute garbage. To again trying to be appeal to people who like shooters, but Resident Evil has not necessarily always been an action shooter necessarily, at least specifically multiplayer focused. Um, yeah, maybe that's the only thing I could think of. That's the only reason that I could think of. But it's like at some point you just gotta realize just to stop. It's not working, but I don't know, man. It is just, it's a mess. It really is. So it's annoying. And then REverse, which I haven't messed with yet, but I'll talk about that in a bit. Um, it's horrible. Yeah, at least there is that. Yeah, at least you could play as Halo. So, but yeah, so at least now with Division One's philosophy or outlook is that they're trying to make it different from RE4. I'm indifferent about it because, like, I guess I can kind of see both ways, but a part of me doesn't want the game to be strayed too far from what it was, or yeah, basically what it was. So that's my concern with Division One, but also Division One did churn out, give us Resident Evil 2 remake, which was pretty damn good for the most part. So I could trust what they're doing specifically in that regard. But I mean, if we're gonna be honest, RE4 did not need to be remade, at least not anytime soon, especially not now. Uh, the fact of them skipping Code Veronica still befuddles me to this day, but I'll never get it. Yeah, this is gonna be very critical, very much criticized in a lot of ways, especially as a big fan of probably RE4 being one of my favorite games of all time. I'm definitely gonna be highly criticizing it, and that's what also makes me very worried that, you know, touching something that to me feels so sacred is, I think, very shaky territory, to say the least. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm very concerned though. I would be lying to you if I yeah, I'm very concerned. We'll see. I mean, this is a long ways out, but very interesting, at least perspective on it overall. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, so that Borderlands movie apparently is going going well. So they for the movie they casted Kevin Hart as Roland in the movie, which is, yeah, I guess. I mean, sure. Are they gonna make them taller? I mean, I don't. I don't really know. I don't even know how to talk about this because it's like, I guess I could see that angle. Yeah, because Borderlands has generally been very comedic, just very random and weird. I guess. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe you can make it work, but I don't know anymore. I just don't know anymore. At least on that note, I think I think that'll end the news for this week. So to get in what I've been up to gaming wise, been still messing with that Modern Warfare. That's pretty much what I've been doing most of the week. Actually, not. Yeah, pretty much over the weekend, last weekend. Not haven't been gaming too much, at least in the week. But yeah, Modern Warfare. I've gotten this weird resurgence in playing it again now, especially with the season pass. Even though all the season pass content is for Black Ops, but it's like it's still that weird. What do you call it? That weird fulfillment, satisfaction of working for something. And then like now I'm weirdly starting to get into like trying to get all gold and platinum camos and stuff. It's been surreal now. At least specifically with the new playlist or the playlist for past week. I don't know if it changed since, but for a shoot to ship where basically you can play shipment and it's really good. That map is really good for grinding weapons and challenges and stuff, which I've been doing as well. So that's actually been what I've been playing the most. But outside of that, I also did play the RE8 demo, which I mean, it's very similar to RE7, at least from what I remember. Is very much a, how do you even describe it? I guess what they said, a visual demo or something. So yeah, R.I.P. Witch Girl. Yeah, man, I've totally forgot about that. Definitely, yeah, rest in peace to that actor. Let me pull her up real quick. Apparently, she was voicing the witches. I believe she voiced all of those witches in RE8 specifically, and I think some previous work as well. Um, where did she go? We'll look it up. Canoga Park. No, that's somebody else. Jeanette Miles. Jeanette Miles. She was already a voice actress. She passed away age 39 due to colon cancer. So that is really messed up, man. Fuck cancer. That's fuck cancer, really. That's, you always hate these stories, man. They're really horrible, but don't have I don't know have to respect the work of these actors. We forget sometimes, yeah, there's real people doing what they can to make these games. Very true. Very true. Totally agree with that. Yeah, you know, a lot of criticism in terms of certain aspects, and you know, it's definitely it's a slippery slope in regards to focusing on more or less who to not necessarily blame, but you know, not going against the wrong people in some aspects. You know, I totally understand that. So yeah, the RE8 demo, played that, played like did 2 playthroughs of it. It's pretty short. I was like, first playthrough, I was literally taking my whole time with it, probably like 40 minutes, and then in the second playthrough was way faster. Yeah, so it's like a visual demo Like there isn't any combat. You just basically exploring, presumably, one of the environments in RE8. So, yeah. Um, so it was cool. It was definitely a cool like introduction, taste of what to experience with when RE8 comes out. Um, yeah, I mean it had some cool little suspenseful moments and I guess world building. Um, yeah, but it's like it's not. There isn't any combat, so that's always my thing with Resident Evil that I thoroughly enjoy. So, uh, you had a little bit of that fulfillment. A little fulfillment in terms of kind of somewhat puzzly aspect where you're looking in the environment trying to find the keys and things like that. Um, at least from that part, I did like, but I mean, um, it's hard to say without the combat because I think that's always been a big part of Resident Evil, in my opinion. That's always kept me with it. On top of the item management and that whole angle as well with Resident Evil. So yeah, so it's that's why I say it's hard to kind of leave with a very, I don't know, solidified impression. But I mean, at least graphically, the game looks really good, and yeah, it just feels like it was a limited environment and very hard to more or less like have a very solidified opinion without having at least a good wide angle of everything in terms of what to expect in a game, like combat and enemy AI and stuff like that. Which yeah, so it's like I guess I feel like I'm kind of slightly lukewarm on it, but I am definitely encouraged and looking forward to. I think there's going to be another demo that probably will release collectively on all platforms. So yeah, yeah, that was a pretty nice touch. I was like, man, I'm glad I got a PS5 to mess with this demo. Yeah, so it was a cool experience in general. Just would have liked to have a taste of the combat at least. Even though I guess technically I did. Now that I'm thinking about it, so maybe my opinion is slightly skewed because I feel I'm not trying to brag about this, but I'm just because it's relevant to this story. Um, that I got to play RE8, play test RE8 last year. Which yeah, man, that is uh that is definitely one of the highlights in my for sure of the very somber 2020. But yeah, totally forgot I play tested the demo, and I feel like I subconsciously had that as a reference point for some reason, which I wasn't even thinking about. But yeah, so at least in the playtest demo I played, it was you got a taste of the combat, and another environment outside of the one we at least the PS5 demo. So yeah, so basically it was the RE ambassador program. Basically you sign up and then they sent out an email for that. So um oh yeah. No, it was going out to I totally forgot about the stipulations, but it was like a one-time thing where they sent out an email and they said I forgot what it was, but basically you had to sign up for it through the email or something like that. I'm not 100% on that, but that was basically, I'm pretty sure it was how it happened. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I think I'm just comparing it to the demo, which is kind of unfair, especially considering the general public has not played that demo. So yeah, so I think that's kind of unfair to be honest. But I'm definitely looking forward to the next demo, which I think may be possibly a modified version or very similar to that demo I played, possibly maybe. we'll see. You'll get confirmation or deconfirmation one way or another if that is the case when that comes up. But overall, definitely looking forward to it. At least the tease at the end in terms of the the lady I want to step on me too. She could step on me all she wants. She could step on me, take all my blood. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me, Lady Demescu. I'm sorry. You could do anything you want to me. You. It's okay. I am at your. I am at your service. That's funny. Please, please clap me, Lady Demescu. Please. May I have another? Yes, I would like another. Oh man. So yeah, there's that. I also luckily got into the REverse beta, which I'm kind of hesitant about. Apparently, I was looking on Twitter. A fair amount of people are actually surprised that it at least somewhat is better than they expected. So, but I think we all had very low expectations to begin with. So we'll see. Have not gotten into it yet. It started, I think, yesterday technically, and then gonna be throughout this whole weekend. So probably gonna put some reasonable time depending on how I like it, and we'll see what happens. At least some good points, at least from what I saw, is that you can turn off that atrocious, despicable ass cell shaded filter. So that's at least one point, at least to redeeming this game. But some fair amount of people are saying it's fun, so we'll see. We'll see. Ugh, it's not RE Outbreak though. That's my issue. That's always gonna be my issue. Any multiplayer game coming out, if it's not RE Outbreak or anything very similar or obviously heavily inspired, we're gonna have problems. That's all I'm saying. AKA bring back Outbreak. Just putting that out there. Bring back Outbreak. Please. Please, Capcom. Please. 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 It's been 84 years. Capcom, please. Please don't do this. Capcom, no. Stop. Capcom, wait. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that filter. It's just like, it just doesn't fit in Resident Evil setting. I guess they were maybe trying to imply that it's more lighthearted and like fun and not as like horror-y and just like a playful thing, but it was atrocious. So we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. Yeah, that had to be they definitely had to have seen Borderlands and got some inspiration or something. So yeah, that pretty much concludes what I've been playing recently. Media wise, whoo boy, Attack on Titan. Man, that episode was good. It is so good I do not want to spoil it because it's that good if you haven't seen it. So I won't because it's good. It's Attack on Titan, the last season. They going out with a bang, let me tell you. That's all I'm going to say, just to be surface wise. And also, fuck them people, you know. You understand what I mean if you watch it. But, yeah, it grew on me. At first, I was a little hesitant about it, but it did grow on me. It did. The song, the opening did grow. So. Outside of that, it's pretty much been it for me, you know. But man, this week is it's been pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. This whole GameStop stock situation, Xbox just trying to throw some balls they don't got. They can't stand to have. Daddy Levi, always. Levi could be my daddy. I don't even go that way, you know. I don't know why. All right. Well, on that note, I think that'll conclude episode 89 of Switch Your Sights. Thanks for watching or listening. Greatly appreciated. If you do like or appreciate this podcast, feel free to like, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcasting platforms. Greatly appreciated. Any feedback, good or bad, is always appreciated. You can also catch me on Twitter at ASwitch, where I, tweet very random stuff, to be honest. Mostly gamer related for the most part. But you can also catch me live on Twitch TV at ASwitch, where I do this podcast live. Also see an archive of youtube.com/ASwitch as well. Until next time, guys, don't cough. Damn it. I missed it. Don't cough. Don't touch people that don't want to be touched. Get your game on. Oh yeah. Nobody's safe.